It's hard to imagine a man who could make the entire world smile, dance, and sing along to his songs, yet hide a storm inside his heart that no one could see. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, dazzled millions with glittering performances, dazzling outfits, and that unforgettable smile that seemed to radiate happiness and joy. But behind that smile, there were invisible tears. The story begins in the late 1980s, when Michael was at the height of his fame. The world adored him, but few truly knew him. Reporters chased him, rumors hunted him, and the pressures of a childhood stolen by fame weighed heavily on his soul. Behind the velvet stage curtains, Michael's laughter often masked a profound loneliness. He had learned early in life that the world only cared for the spectacle, not the man behind it. One evening, after a grueling rehearsal, Michael retreated to the sanctuary of his home. The mansion was silent, yet the emptiness felt suffocating. The echoes of applause, the flashing cameras, the screaming fans. They were gone, yet their shadow lingered. Michael sat alone in a room bathed in dim light, staring at the floor, his fingers tracing the edges of the piano. He began to play, softly at first, as if coaxing a secret out of the darkness. The melody was familiar, yet unbearably sad, a reflection of the loneliness that had been with him since childhood. He closed his eyes, and for a moment, the world vanished. He was no longer Michael Jackson, the superstar, the icon. He was just a boy who had been forced to grow up too fast, who had learned to hide his tears behind a smile, who had learned that love and trust could be as fleeting as the applause in a stadium. Somewhere in that moment, the invisible tears began to fall. They were not loud, not dramatic. They were quiet, private, almost secret, like a confession whispered only to the moonlight that filtered through the window. Michael's heart was overflowing, and the piano became his vessel. Each note a drop of grief, each chord a cry that words could never carry. The night stretched on. He wrote in his journals, leaving pages filled with thoughts he could never voice to anyone else. They see the smile, he wrote, but not the scars. They hear the laughter, but not the heartbreak. I am invisible, even to those who adore me. And yet, within that pain, there was a spark of hope. Michael understood that his music was more than entertainment. It was a bridge. Through his songs, he could reach hearts that might never see his tears, but could feel them anyway. Each performance, each lyric, each dance step became a way to share his truth while hiding the fragility that he feared would be misunderstood. There are accounts from those closest to him that in private, he would sometimes break down, releasing the tension of decades of secrecy. But he always returned to the smile that had become his armor, his gift, and his prison all at once. He knew the world needed that smile. They didn't need his tears. And yet, in the quiet moments when the spotlight was gone, he let himself feel the full weight of what he carried. This duality, smiling for the world while crying in silence, is what made Michael Jackson human, profoundly human. It reminds us that even those who seem untouchable, invincible, or perfect have shadows that no one sees, that the faces that inspire us, the icons we admire, the people who make life brighter, they too can hurt, they too can struggle, they too can cry invisible tears. The lesson of Michael's secret sorrow is not despair. It is empathy. It is a call to look beyond appearances, to understand that behind every smile could be a story that has never been told. To remember that those we admire are not just performers or celebrities. They are people with fears, dreams, and tears that are hidden from the world. In the end, Michael Jackson's invisible tears were never meant to be public. They were sacred, intimate, the confession of a man who gave everything he had to the world, yet gave himself only in moments of solitude. And perhaps that is the most profound part of his legacy. Not the moonwalks, not the records, not the glittering concerts, but the reminder that vulnerability can exist even in the brightest lights, and that a heart can be both admired and broken at the same time. So now, I leave you with this thought. The next time you see someone who seems perfect, who smiles through every struggle, remember that there may be invisible tears behind that smile. And maybe, just maybe, if you pay attention, you'll see the depth of their soul without them ever having to speak. Do you believe that Michael Jackson, the man who captivated the world, carried so much pain behind that smile? Have you ever hidden your own tears behind a smile that everyone adored? If this story reached you, If it touched something you didn't even know was there, share it, comment your thoughts, and subscribe. But only if you're ready to see the world behind the mask. Because sometimes, the most powerful stories are the ones the world never sees, the ones whispered quietly, carried in invisible tears, and felt deeply by those who dare to notice.